Get ready for a spine-chilling experience with 3 true scary stories to keep you awake at night. Vertical Bar Walmart Horror Stories. Explore enigmatic and astonishing realms through these gripping tales. From life-altering clinical trials to the secrets unveiled by invisibility, this video promises to be a journey into the unknown. Each story unfolds like a captivating kaleidoscope of events and emotions. Brace yourself for a thrilling adventure into the mysterious and extraordinary. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more bone-chilling videos in the future. Intruder. He returned early from his walk outside. Mother and father wanted to stay longer, but he was hungry and tired, so they said he could go ahead home. He opened the door into the kitchen, but right away he could tell that something was off. The air felt disturbed, like someone or something had been here. They never had visitors, so there's no reason it should have felt this wrong. He proceeded quietly, worried that he might not be alone. In the kitchen he saw disturbed food and broken furniture, but no one was there. There was something strange about the damage that gave him an eerie feeling, but he couldn't place it, so he kept on. He crept through the rest of the house, ignoring the growing sense of dread. He checked everything, every picture, every piece of furniture, every rug, looking for any sign that someone had been there. He didn't see anything else, but he couldn't escape the feeling that something wasn't as it should be. And the smell. He couldn't place the smell. If there were someone here, what would he do? They'd never had an intruder before, and mother and father hadn't prepared him for this. They all always kept to themselves, believing it was safer that way. Until now, they'd always been right. Seeing nothing on this level, he crept silently toward the stairs. He knew he should go upstairs, but his heart was beating quickly, and he had trouble getting himself to move. Should he wait for his parents to come home? Did he really need to go up right now? No. His parents hadn't raised him to be afraid. Steeling himself, he padded up the stairs and down the hallway. Nothing. He poked his head into the bathroom. Empty. Then he went to the door to his parents' room. He rarely went into this room. He really didn't have a reason to. But he looked in now. It seemed as if someone had been there. The closet door was cracked and the bedding was disturbed. But they weren't here any longer, which left only one place they could be. He went down the hall and stopped at his door. He'd lived here his entire life. The sign engraved with BB had been there since before he could remember. Nothing bad could happen here, but he had to be sure. He opened the door and what he saw terrified him. But before the fear could overwhelm him, he sprang into action and leapt forward. Later, he sat in the kitchen, calming down as Mother sat next to him, holding his hand after she'd washed the blood from it. The honey he was eating was delicious, but more so was his parents' reaction. He smiled at the memory of Father's words. "I'm proud of you, little one. You could have panicked and done too little or overreacted and done too much, but you handled it just right. A captain's first mate follows every order no matter what. But I wish I didn't listen to my captain." A storm was brewing. Looking up at the clouds, a shiver prickled its way down my spine. I could see it drifting towards us, already rocking our ship back and forth. As the captain's first mate, I hurried over to him, breathless. Our captain was addressing our stowaways. I started as a stowaway, but I became an ally to our captain instead of an enemy. "Felix," I gasped out, just as ice-cold rain hit my face, lashing my hair across my cheeks. "We need to get everyone under deck." He shoved me back. "What did you just call me?" Throwing up my hands, I was well aware of our crew manning lifeboats and starting the evacuation under deck. I dropped to my knees, drawing my own sword. "Sorry," I gasped out through mouthfuls of icy rain. It was so cold, my clothes glued to my skin. Captain Felix, there's a storm coming and I don't think we're going to survive the... I had to hold back a cry when a crack of thunder rumbled across the sky and the ocean, my vision blurring. "Speak," Felix ordered. "Captain, we need to go under deck." "No." Felix pointed his sword at one stowaway in particular. Ethan Hadley, who was trembling, his hands tied behind his back. Felix dragged the boy to his feet, stabbing the blade of his sword into his chin. He forced Ethan forwards, the group of us stumbling under our rocking ship. I could already see water seeping on deck. Ethan dropped onto his knees on the plank, sobbing. He turned to us, his eyes wide, lips curled into a silent scream that was whipped away by the wind. "Please," he cried, "Felix, I don't want to walk the plank. I'll stay loyal to your crew and I'll even clean your shoes." "I don't care," Felix said before shoving the boy backwards. I watched the sudden change in Ethan's expression, like real fear had replaced dramatics. The boy let out a squeak, his body tumbling down into roaring waves. Felix turned to me, his smile wide, eyes lit up. "Do you want to walk the plank, Ellie?" he whispered. I swallowed, stumbling back. "No, Captain Felix." "Good." He forced the others to their feet. "They will all walk the plank." Felix pushed the others off of the plank, one by one. It was when I was standing on the edge of our pirate ship did my stomach start to twist. The turbulent waves of the ocean became cold, hard concrete beneath us, where an intense scarlet hue was spreading across the playground. I took a shaky step back from our school roof, away from the scary-looking drop, my cardboard sword slipping from my hand. "Felix!" Mrs. Johnson was screaming, and down below, the stormy sea was a pile of unmoving bodies in fast-spreading red. "What have you done? Help! Someone call an ambulance!" I stepped back, away from my grinning captain, but it was his idea. Out of sight. Out of mind. I'm sure you've heard a tale like this before. Poor guy signs up for a clinical trial and it goes terribly wrong. Well, I'm here to tell you it gets better. You see, the one I did paid out big, so I was able to pay off all my debts and buy a home outright. Sure, it was little more than a shack by the woods, but it was all mine. Luckily, I bought it before the trial finished, because once the trial finished, I was invisible. Horrifying, right? Except they paid me even more money since they didn't know how to change me back. I bought more land and expanded my house. Now I was living the life. You'd be surprised, though, how quickly the novelty wears off. I stayed at home for a long time, unsure of what to do. I did that for so long that I could imitate all the noises in my house like a regular Michael Winslow. That's when I started venturing out. After spying on society and pranking obnoxious kids for a while, I started to lose meaning in my life. I didn't need to work, so why would I? I couldn't drive because that would be a little obvious, but I got really good at dashing onto the bus undetected. Once I did all the exploring I could do within the confines of polite society, I needed something more. That's when I started sneaking into people's cars in the shopping center parking lots. I would go home with them and walk around their neighborhoods, peeking in windows, viewing non-invisible life. Yes, I guess I was envious a bit, but that wasn't why entirely. I saw so much of true society just peeking in, so finally one day I snuck in the door of the house with the family I had hitched a ride with. The day would progress the way you would expect if you watched any family sitcom of the last 50 years, but if I could get into their rooms, well, that's where the real shows were. Sure, there was sex and nudity and all the horrors and delights you could imagine there, but there were other much more interesting things. Like the man who waited for his wife to fall asleep before going to the locked attic to play with and arrange his doll collection. The woman who spiked her abusive husband's coffee each morning with increasing amounts of cleaning chemicals. Then there was the single man who dabbled in the dark arts. He spoke in chants and sacrificed rats and other small rodents. He almost caught me once, but I can make a convincing refrigerator sound, just convincing enough to allow people's reason to take over. I once had to bail from a conductor's house because he knew the AC was whirring in a different key than usual. Luckily, most people's ears aren't so fine-tuned. Most would rather believe they are safe then.